All right, guys. I'm here with the guys from CrossFit Fortis over here out in Ottawa. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks
for having us.
Welcome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very excited. Anyways, can we actually just start? I usually do this just like a little bit about yourselves, how you got into CrossFit, how you guys actually, started this together.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff.
I'll let Dan go first
All right,
since
I
he
can start
started it.
I'm originally a baseball player. I played ball my whole childhood. I went down to the States on a ball scholarship, played down there. From then, I came back to Ontario, I guess, and played in the IBL down in Southern Ontario. Played for the Brantford Red Sox for a few years.
Cool.
Went back to school, Brock University. So I was always in that competitive type of training mode, competitive type of team sport type of thing. So once I graduated, I moved back to Ottawa, and I was looking for, basically, I hung up my shoes, and I was like still looking for that competitiveness, I guess you can say. So started working out again at Good Life, and I was just looking for something that I could do that was, I guess, capture my motivation again. Just regular training for me didn't work.
Right.
So I actually stumbled upon CrossFit on YouTube. I saw Chris Peeler destroy one of the workouts, the hill workout, I think it was, at the CrossFit Games back in, was it 2008?
Oh, that's right. I remember. Was it with a sandbag or something? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just remember the clip. He was running down the hill, and it was pretty amazing to see. So I started watching some more CrossFit videos and whatnot. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. So I started doing it at the gym at Good Life, and they frowned upon that big time, especially back then, right? They had no clue what was going on. Yeah. So while I was working out there, I got a job there as a personal trainer. So I got the fitness background from that.
Were you doing CrossFit with your clients there?
Yeah.
Okay.
After once I discovered it, that's all we were doing, and everybody was loving it. So that basically set me up for what I wanted to do. So from there, I branched off and opened up CrossFit Fortis.
Cool.
It was basically almost 2 years after I started working at Good Life. I left there, and we opened CrossFit Fortis in 2012.
Awesome. And did you start with a lot of personal training clients, like that came over, or how'd you?
Actually, no. It was kind of weird. I had 2 or 3 clients that followed over, but a lot of them, it was just timing-wise, it seemed to just happen right at the point when most of my clients should have been re-signing, I guess.
Right.
And they were going their own way. They were leaving the city or whatever, so I was losing probably about half my clientele.
So it was just like the perfect timing.
Yeah, it was just, okay, sweet. So instead of searching for clients there, I started searching for members at our gym. So it was pretty cool. So I had a couple clients that followed me. We did PT there once we first opened, and then we just basically grew organically from word of mouth, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah. From there, when we first opened at, actually it was the other location just down the street. It was myself and another partner. She ran the physiotherapy department, and we strived for a good 5 years, and we basically ballooned out from the size of that location, and at the point where we needed to find someplace new, and we found this place. And at that time, they're starting to basically views and whatnot were starting to differ, and we decided to go our separate ways. She took the physiotherapy side of it, and I took the CrossFit side of it, and moved here. And then from that, in between all that, it's when I basically met Rob and how we got involved in it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Orleans, Ottawa, my whole life. Played sports my whole life, and then I think, like a lot of people, once I got to a certain age, a little bit of sedentary lifestyle kicked in. We had kids. I put on some compassion weight for my wife, I guess, and just kind of slowed down. So I wasn't really doing much, but I still kind of had that competitive feeling. I just didn't find something that really I could outlet it in. But I started kind of slowly working out, doing my own thing at home, getting back into shape, and then I saw CrossFit Fortis down the street from me, wandered in one day, and saw women, whipping bumper plates over their head. I'd never seen a bumper plate in my life. I had no idea how much weight they were lifting. I thought it was hundreds of pounds. I was like,
must be 500 pounds.
Yeah, at least. I was so intimidated. I think I ran out with my tail between my legs, and finally mustered up the courage to come back in a couple weeks later and check it out. And then right from the first workout, I was hooked. I mean, I think Dan probably doesn't remember, but there was only a couple people in the class. I was hanging out the back door. I thought I was in decent shape, but I was hanging out the back door like dry heaving, and was just like my world was rocked. But when I left, I was like, that was amazing. And then from there, I just became a member, and After a few years, when we were talking, when Dan was looking at going to a bigger space, I approached him, and we kind of organically just kind of talked about, hey, is it an opportunity maybe to partner up? We'd already been working together a little bit on the social media side and stuff like that, and then partnership just grew from there, and we moved here and
sort of gelled together, and it's going on now.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how many years have you guys been at this spot here?
It'll be 2 years this month, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No way. This is a great spot. And anything you notice, like the big benefits of being this is bigger than your last place, right?
Yeah, the other place was, if you want, like, looking back at it now, like, I thought the other place was great. Like,
Right.
I remember when that place, it used to be an old Blockbuster.
No way.
Yeah. So when Blockbuster closed down, and it was right in the middle of when, like, I was doing my business plan for the banks and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay. And then Blockbuster went down, and I'm like, oh my God, that location is gonna be stellar. Right next to it was right next to a Shoppers Drug Mart. The traffic alone, the walk-in traffic would have been awesome. Plus, there's a huge community right behind the building. So I was like, I basically called the number that day, and I'm like, I want that place. And it took a few months to negotiate everything we needed to get done, and it worked out in our favor, and we ended up getting it.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's a cool spot. And any benefit? So that was like a more retail area, I take.
Yeah, it was totally retail.
Any benefit coming over here to like a more industrial spot?
Well, obviously the rent.
Right.
Going from retail rent to basically commercial industrial rent is a big difference.
Right.
The room.
the space.
The space. Plus, for me anyways, the one major thing was complaints. In the community over there, we had a lot of complaints. People not liking the runners on the streets.
Right.
We were doing sled drags, tire flips out in the parking lot. And that was just disturbing. Like, the neighbors just weren't happy.
Dropping weight at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Didn't go over too well either.
Right.
Yeah. Even though we're inside, we
Yeah.
were getting complaints.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing. We're in the industrial zone now. We can do whatever the hell we want. 5 o'clock in the morning, we can push a sled outside if we want.
Plus,
awesome.
I mean, the space, the big, open the bay doors, get the breeze
That's
coming through. Like, it's
fantastic,
just, it's a whole
and this
different
mezzanine,
world.
like looking down on the gym is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a mezzanine. We
Yeah,
actually looked into it, but we're not allowed. Like our landlord, like you can't
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
mezzanine where we are for whatever reason. But yeah, this is a really, really, really sweet spot.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
It works well. Members seem to like it, and a lot more room in our classes. Like I said earlier, if you look back at the old place, it was more dungeony.
Yeah.
Like closed
Low
off.
ceilings.
Low ceiling.
A bit of an L shape to it, which was
Yeah.
awkward too. Like, just not a real conducive,
No, it was-
ideal CrossFit box for
No,
sure.
This is a box.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe more of a rectangle, but
Yeah.
technicality.
So now
That's cool.
now it's a lot better. Yeah.
And what kind of stuff do you guys offer? I still saw you guys still have some kind of physio. Like, what kind of stuff do you guys do here?
Yeah. So we have physiotherapy now. We had physiotherapy when we first moved here. She left. And then we've been looking for physiotherapists for a while now, and we actually found a great fit. So she's in now. Chanel's in doing physiotherapy basically full time now.
Very cool.
Her hours are pretty much wide open Monday to Friday. So that's what we offer in terms of physiotherapy. We have a nutritionist on hand. She's one of our members. She's a great woman. She knows what she's talking about. She's already has so many success stories with our members. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been wild.
The stuff she can do with our members is nuts.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Has that been going for a while? Is that like on top of a membership or separate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have an add-on on top of your membership to have weekly meetings with her, or as much correspondence as you want. Really,
Right.
it's very custom-made, very tailored to you. And like Dan said, we've had 3 or 4 just amazing success stories that has just fueled other people wanting to jump on board, and it makes a big difference.
Have you guys
right?
been doing that for a long time, or was it like did she
No.
approach you? Did you find her?
She was a member, and we just sort of chatted one day. We were actually looking for a nutritionist, and it just happened to have the right conversation with the right person. And she's taken at what is it, that performance nutrition?
Precision.
Precision
Precision
nutrition.
nutrition,
Yeah.
So she's certified in that. She had a couple other nutrition certifications. So it just happened, like I said, talking to the right person at the right time, and we sort of gelled on what we were looking for, and it grew from there. Literally, we just started last September.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's exploded in terms of like results for our members, like in no time.
It's crazy. I think how many people. I don't say don't believe you, but they're like nutrition. Like I know I could clean up my nutrition and it would help a little bit. I just don't want to right now. But then when the people commit, they're like, holy, like what happened? Like this is a game changer.
That's what you need, right? A couple of success stories, and other people are looking like, whoa, what have you been doing?
Yeah.
And then they realize, like, if people are willing to log and track their weights and all their workouts, but they won't put that same effort into nutrition for the most part. Right. Once they put a little bit of that effort in, like it's just the results exponentially
amplifies what you're doing here.
Crazy,
exactly. Yeah. Well, it's a pillar of your success, right?
Completely.
So if you eat like shit, you're not going to get results.
No.
Basically.
You're kind of like you're spinning your wheels in the mud if you're
exactly
coming in here hard 5 days a week and then hitting the McDonald's drive-through 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's not really going to help.
You're in the negative there.
Cool. Awesome. And any other how do you guys do? Just out of curiosity, how do you guys do onboarding new clients out here? Do you guys do PT first? Do you guys do group on ramp?
We don't do a group on-ramp. It's something that we've never really done. We always feel CrossFit is universally scalable. You can theoretically walk in and start today if you're, our coach should be able to handle that.
Yep.
But we do offer a couple different options. So we work it as a new client walks in. We sit down for a no-sweat intro, talk about their goals, their problems. We want to hear about them, what they need, first of all, as opposed to us giving them the hard sell of, hey, this is what we do. And then see what kind of fit there is from there, show them around, show them what a class looks like, and then kind of go from there. We do offer different packages if they do want to do some personal training to get started. If they feel more comfortable with that before going right to a group, they're more than welcome to do that. But if they want to hop right into the group classes, we're ready to go there too.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you guys limit your group class sizes or?
Yeah.
We do cap our regular classes at 16 during the week. On Saturday mornings, we have our Saturday morning gauntlet workouts, I guess you can call it. So we cap those at 20. They're typically partner workouts.
Right.
So it ends up being 10 teams more or less, a little bit more organized for the coach in terms of coaching the class. Our teens classes, we cap them at 10. So we try to maintain a good ratio between our members and our coaches just to get, obviously, the coaching involved and make sure that there's, if there's 2 classes going on, there's enough space for everybody.
Yeah.
That's cool. Are Saturday mornings really crazy busy for you guys too, for us?
It's hit and miss.
Ebbs and flows for sure.
Yeah.
Summer tends to be a little busier. I mean, Saturday mornings in winter in Canada is hockey morning, right? So everyone who's got their kids in hockey is running around to the rinks and stuff like that. So it tends to be once April hits, like right now we're seeing the Saturdays start to get real busy again, right? Because everyone's done hockey and it's picking back up.
And it's fun to see, yeah.
I guess we have a little bit of hockey out there, but not quite as much as out here, because I think this is like the hockey hotbed.
Yeah.
Ottawa, and so everywhere from here into Montreal is gonna be hockey.
So we see it in both our adult classes and our kids classes on Saturday mornings are both the attendance kind of dips a little in the winter and then it swings back up.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Segue from you talking about teams. So I think the first time, I met you at a competition, but I think the first time CrossFit Fortis registered for me was when you guys started doing events, and we've been doing events for a while at Element.
Yep.
So I was looking and I was these are really legit events, because some people do there's varying degrees of I guess just like any box or any business, right? You have varying degrees of stuff. So I'm just curious about how'd you get into events? I know why I did it, but I'll get into that in a minute. But I'm just curious what made you like the competitive side of CrossFit, running events, that kind of stuff. What was the inspiration there?
Well, twofold, I guess. One is my own competitiveness. In Ottawa, when we first opened, there's no competition. It was just dull. Actually, one of the reasons why, when we met, was the fact that I drove all the way out to Toronto, or Mississauga actually, to compete in 1 year.
Yeah.
It was the Ontario Open. I think it was in 2013.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that was awesome. It was the best competition I remember. I remember the one WOD, it was double unders and snatches. It destroyed me. But that was the first time I met you. And then after that, traveling to Toronto, we did the Sweat RX at the convention center.
That's right.
And then we did one of my members at the time and we drove out there for your 2-day overdose comp. And we did a couple team competitions and all that stuff with you. But in Ottawa, there was nothing. There was no competitions in this area. It was hard to even find some that were conducive to our schedule in terms of going to Montreal.
Right.
So we decided when we first opened, it was within, I don't know, I think it was within the first year we started thinking of just doing a competition for 2 people, partner comp. So we ended up starting what we called, that year was Go Schools and Kettlebells. That was our first comp. Nice. It was right around, obviously, Halloween. It was in October. And we started off with, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 36 teams. And then we got a good reception from it. Everybody was saying how good it was, how they liked it, how they wanted to do it again the following year. So we put it on again the following year, and that's when we changed the name. We branded it as Woktoberfest.
Right.
And we actually did it at a high school, local high school just down the street. And at that year, we grew to 87 teams. And then the following year, it grew to 120 teams. The following year is up to 161 teams. So we've been hovering now at Oktoberfest it's in September now, just for a little bit nicer weather because it's always outdoors.
Yep.
We do it in September now, but we're always hovering at around 160 teams. The past 2 years, we've done it at Petrie Island on the beach.
That's awesome.
So, and we just keep hearing these awesome stories about how they love the workouts, how they love the atmosphere, how they love the cheering from everybody in the whole community just coming together for the competition in itself. So that's what drives me now is more the community aspect of it. But back in the day when it first started, it was like just to get people competing. Like there's nothing around here.
The fun aspect of it. I think the thing that got me into it originally, like I found the same as you. I played basketball not as at a high level as you, but for me, fitness was never like a chore or a box you had to tick. Like I stayed in shape because I played basketball, so that was like easy. You just play, and like if you're out of shape, you just got to play more basketball. You'll be in shape in a couple weeks, like no problem. And then like graduating school, getting a desk job, gaining some weight. I was like, I can't play basketball all the time. Let me join a gym. So I joined Good Life. That's not nearly as much fun. I tried. I had some workout buddies that were like, meatheads. They were awesome. They put up with me. I was just like skinny weakling, but like it just wasn't the same. And then when I found CrossFit, it felt like that was the closest I felt to like being in like a really tough practice with a coach screaming at me, and I was like, this is amazing. I miss this. And that's pretty much why I think the competitive side for me was so appealing as well, because it was something that just felt like this is that outlet, that same way that I can push myself, where I'm getting that feeling of like, here's this goal, the whole heat is working really hard, and I'm gonna take myself to that, like, that really push myself, that dark place, and like kind of see what I'm capable of.
Absolutely.
And that's very cool to see.
No, it's almost like now it's gotten so big and been so successful the last few years. It's like we feel like we have to outdo ourselves every year and make it even better, smoother. Everything's got to be on time. We always come up with a bit of a surprise event, and we got to kind of outdo that year over year. So it's kind of become fun in that sense, right?
A lot harder. But it's fun in that sense for sure.
But bringing it down to the beach has been amazing. That's opened up a whole world of WODs and possibilities, and just like the whole, people set up on the beach, tents, and we have vendors there and everything. Like it's just become this big like festival almost thing. It's pretty much. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Have you guys noticed like any challenges with like having an off-site event versus having it in the gym? Because we did a bunch of off-site ones, like with SweatRx back in the day, and then but last year our team challenge in September as well. We did it off-site for the first time at Downsview Park, and it's like it's definitely a different beast. Taking your stuff elsewhere, because you're an event here on the day of, and you're just like, oh, I forgot something. Like I'm running to my office and grab it. There, if you like didn't plan ahead, you're like, I can't go get it.
100%. That happens every year.
Pretty much. It's called I got to run to the store.
Where's the nearest Walmart?
Typically, we get a U-Haul and we just basically pack everything that's in here, regardless of where it's stored or whatever. We're just bringing everything, and then we hope to hell we find it in the truck if we need it. So
it's a lot more work for sure. I mean, that's it. It's a bigger ordeal. We're setting up the rig at 10 o'clock at night the night before. We're dragging everything from the gym down there, and like you said, we forget something. Shit, we're running out to barbecues out of propane. Someone's got to run and go get it, or we're missing a cable for the microphone or something. Like there's just bound to be something that you can't.
And even the day of, like the setup itself, like competition at in-house is you get here at 7:30, get ready for people showing up at 8:30 for registration, and get going by 9:30 type of thing, if that's when the comp starts. But over there, our comp starts at 8:30. We're there by 5 a.m. just to make sure that tents are up for everything. Like everything's got to be unloaded the day of, as opposed to having everything all
Those
set up.
Volunteers of the troopers. I remember this year we were like, "Hey, we're gonna meet at 4:30 a.m." They were like, "Sorry, what?" I was like, 4:30. Thank you so much.
Don't worry, we'll have the coffee. I swear.
I was getting the coffee, and it was weird because picking up at Tim Hortons, there's still like the bar people are at Tim Hortons, and I'm picking up coffee, waking up, and they're looking at me like I'm weird, and I'm looking at them like they're weird.
Bit of weird overlap there for sure.
Definitely. That's very cool. Do you guys have any other events like in the pipeline? Do you guys do more than Oktoberfest during the year?
We've started to do a couple more. We've done now 2 years in a row. We've done Revolution. 2 years ago, it was New Year's Revolution, individual competition. And then this past year, just with a conflict with another local comp, we moved it to May. So it's just a couple weeks ago we had it now, but that one is individuals only. And then we've also hosted a Girls Gone RX comp the last 2 years as well.
Cool. That's awesome.
So that was just last weekend, actually. So not on purpose, but May's been crazy. We had two comps within 3 weeks of each other.
That's
so
insanity.
Yeah.
We used to have them like every 3 months, and we cut back because I was like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
2 and 3 weeks is crazy.
Thank God for volunteers.
Yeah.
No kidding, right?
It was a little ambitious on our part, but it was really, we're trying to look at a calendar and not interfere with other comps and make sure people can make it, and it was the only way we could get it done.
Yeah.
So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What's the in terms of like community and stuff and competitions? What's the biggest benefit that you notice from like having your athletes? So the very first podcast that we did, I talked to Sean Blinch from Red Leaf about that whole. Some people with CrossFit, there's endless criticisms. CrossFitters aren't athletes. Don't talk to them. Don't call them athletes. And we're kind of like, well, like everyone's an athlete. It's just like as long as you're doing stuff at your ability level.
Yeah.
So what are some of the benefits you notice like from having your members either compete or volunteer at an event?
The biggest one for the ones that compete, I guess it'd be one, they can discover that they actually can do it.
Yeah.
A lot of times you get these, I can't, I'm not good enough, or I'm like very scared, intimidated by the actual competitiveness, and then after the fact is the most fun they've had in years, and they can't wait till next year.
Yeah.
One, and then two is to actually finding where their limits are.
Right.
And learning what they need to work on, basically. Like we can teach them, coach them that throughout the day, doing pull-ups or whatever, and it's more of a motivation for them where it comes. It's almost like the open, if you will.
Yeah.
Right. And they discover that on their own, and it's a great way to get them involved in the community and helping themselves discover themselves, if you will.
Yeah, they're going to push harder than they normally would. Like it's rare that someone would do a comp for the first time and not PR. It's just that they're going to a place they would never go otherwise, right? Usually the trend we see is someone will volunteer one year, get so caught up in it, the next year they compete for the first time, whereas they maybe never would have in the past. And as shitty as it is to lose a volunteer, just to see them gain the confidence to go out and try to compete it's awesome.
Amazing, yeah.
It's so cool, right? Because I think sometimes as like coaches, you can see it in the athlete before they see it themselves.
Yep.
And you're like, man, I wish you could just see it. And they do a comp, and you're like, see, like now you see what I was talking about the whole time.
Yep.
You can do that. And they're like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and just to see that confidence blossom, right? Like that carries over into not just in here, but out there too, right? Like it's just that personality, like they're carrying themselves a little taller. There's something about them, right? A little swagger that comes with it. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, setting something up and accomplishing something. And I think you get to a certain point in life where I think, and it's not anyone's fault, I think you're just kind of going through, it's like Groundhog Day. You're kind of going through the routines, doing the same thing over and over again. Because you have all these milestones, but they're all kind of set like, under 25.
Yeah.
Every single milestone that people have, and then now it becomes this thing like, oh, I didn't think I could do anything new. And I'm like, holy crap, like, I just
surprise.
PR'd my clean. I did a pull-up. I had a client the other day who like did her first pull-up, and she's like, this is amazing. And it's like, I told you when you joined 6 months ago that you could get one.
Yeah.
But now you actually do it, and like they're so pumped, and it's just so cool to see them kind of figure it out for themselves.
100%, yeah.
And especially because I think that's how we all got into this, right? Like, something about CrossFit hooked us all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that competitive part is the part that, like I said, pushes people past where they were. Like my biggest thing when I first started was like I'd walk in, look at the board, and be like, I can't do that. Like what? There's no way. He's crazy for writing that on the board. And then, an hour later, you're laying on the ground, you're like, man, I did it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you just have that, every day you have that feeling, but in a competition, it's above and beyond that, right?
Yeah.
You almost have that fear of going into that workout
in
a competition, but then you destroy the workout, and you're like, it doesn't matter whether you finish first in the heat or dead last in the whole workout. You know that you push it, you give it your all, your legs are hurting, your body's in agony from going so hard, and you're like, I can do that one extra rep to get my team or myself that extra score, if you will. And that drive is just there.
Probably like jumping out of an airplane, right? Like you don't really want to do it, but you feel awesome when you do, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's once you're doing it, you're loving it.
Yeah, in the moment,
That's right. All that fear happens just before you do it. As soon as you do it, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Yeah,
right. Kind of forget.
Yeah, it's like that nervousness. As soon as the tone of the beeper goes for the time to start, nervousness gone. Now it's game time. It's focused. Let's go.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So, topic du jour: CrossFit HQ and social media.
Oh boy.
Any thoughts? So, for those of you guys that are watching that don't know, so I guess pretty much anyone that's not an affiliate owner, there's an affiliate owners group on Facebook. Actually, there's two affiliate owners group on Facebook. All the affiliate owners know that there's two, and they talk about one group as the other group, but we won't go into that. Anyway, so CrossFit HQ is now off social. Sorry, I should say off Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Off all Facebook properties.
Social, yeah.
So, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Good, bad, otherwise? We can even talk about games changes, but that's a whole separate thing.
Is it good? Is it bad? I guess we'll wait and see. In terms of his vision, I don't think it's going to change a single thing. He's got a great product, and he wants to deliver that product. And I don't know if social media is going to be hindering or helping him in either way. So he's got his views, and he's acted on them, I guess.
It's hard to tell, right? I mean, he's a genius. Everything he's done so far has been the right call. So will this be the right call in the end? Who knows? I mean, to me, the changes to the games, from there he went to, it's all about the affiliates. Let's push people into the affiliates, and social media feels like a pretty good way to tell the story of the affiliates and to push people in there, right? So to just completely cut that off seems a little harsh, but time will tell, right? CrossFit was here before, it's going to be here after, but
it was interesting, right? Because after that happened, like if you noticed the change of the stories they were sharing and whatever, instantly switched from like people in six packs and whatever to like Jane lost 150 pounds. This diabetic person's off their medication. Like all these stories that we knew existed were getting pushed on HQ,
which is awesome.
Which I thought was fantastic. Yeah. Like the couch and the wiper jugs and stuff maybe was a little much. That was like a little too far. But the telling the story of people who lost 100 pounds and who are improving their life, like that's what we're here for. That's fantastic, right?
Yeah. And that's where the people are, right? I think the hard part is, I guess I see both sides. The one thing I respect, we were kind of talking about this before, is that whatever his views are, whether I agree or disagree, he's one of those people in today's society that like actually stuck to his guns. So, and I think a lot of people will be like, yeah, Facebook's terrible, and then update their status on Facebook and whatever. Yeah, and so many people I know are like, oh, I deleted Facebook off my phone, and then they like log into the browser. I was like, oh, you're still kind of on Facebook. I don't blame them. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm trying to use them less. But like for someone to actually stick to his guns and what he believes in, whether it's right or wrong, I think there's something admirable about that.
You can never accuse Glassman of being wishy-washy, right? If he makes a decision, that's it.
He's the most binary decision maker I know.
Once that decision's made, he's going full out on it.
So. Like yesterday. Because even the announcement of explaining it, like I guess that's kind of the thing is, do you think that they should have done a better job of explaining to people why they did it? Or
well, I feel like that's kind of been the MO so far, right? With the games changes, the .com changes, and then this, the explanation comes after the fact and kind of through another channel. Like there's no direct, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it. Like it all kind of filters out after the fact, which leaves a lot of speculation in the short term. Which, as affiliate owners, you would hope maybe for a little more communication, a little more heads up, so that when you do have some of your members asking you questions, you're not as clueless as they are, right? You can say, well, this is kind of what they're thinking. Well, I have no idea what they're thinking.
I get that a lot. I'm sure you guys do as well. Like, hey, do you guys know do you know what's happening? I was like, listen, I find out when you guys find out. Like there is no, I don't have a secret channel. I don't have any sort of, there's no bat phone that Glassman picks up.
We got the red telephone in the wall.
Yeah, that's right. There's none of that.
So maybe a little more transparency and a heads up, right? But do they owe that to us? Probably not either. I don't know.
I mean, that's part of the beauty, I think, of CrossFit is that, like, we can do whatever we want with it, which is kind of, it's a double-edged sword, right? You can do it terribly, but you're also free to innovate and do something better than has been done before, and you're not stuck within the constraints of what everyone else is doing, so...
It's hard to enjoy that freedom and then complain about it at the same time, right? Oh, they should have given us a heads up or given us more structure. Well, they don't give you structure. That's the point of it, and that's the beauty of it.
He's not telling us to get off Facebook or Instagram. He just did it.
Exactly it.
So we still have the ability to use those venues or the social media aspects and go with what we want to use.
And I think that just puts the onus on us to do it even better, right? If our members are coming then to us for CrossFit news and stories and stuff, then it's up to us to create them and tell those stories.
Exactly. It makes us the head of the table for our membership base. And then we can direct what we want with them and what our vision is and whatever, instead of sort of down trickling from HQ.
Yeah, and I think they're still on YouTube, right? There's still all of the movement demos if you want or whatever are still there. The website's still there. So the social stuff is, it's gone. But I think exactly to your point, I think it gives us the opportunity to tell our story more. Because before is like we'd never be able to compete with HQ's media. But now everyone in your area can know about you because you put your transformations out there, you put whatever out there. It becomes way more like what's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's more at the forefront and it's more relatable because it's like, oh, like I live in Ottawa. This person lives in Ottawa. This is it's not Jane from Wisconsin. Like it's this person down the street that they're friends with someone I went to high school with. I know this person.
Maybe it almost carries more weight now, right? It's not. There's not that other stuff kind of clouding it and overshadowing it.
Yeah, that's very cool. Game stuff. What do you guys think about games?
Honestly, when it first came out, I think I was, oh boy, this is a mistake.
Right.
Hindsight now, looking back a little bit more, I think it could be a good thing. I'm still on the fence. Well, on the fence. I'm still sitting back to see what actually happens. I'd like to see what the format is going to be when the games actually do come in and happen. I'd like to see what happens between those that qualified as our country leader and still don't know how to do a muscle up. Because you know that's going to happen, but so be it. I'd just like to see how you're going to have these people compete against Fraser.
Right.
It's like going to the Olympics and you having a novice swimmer next to you type of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's not TV time, but I see what he's doing. He wants to include basically everybody to compete worldwide, as opposed to just the conglomerates in basically North America. It seems like North America, Europe, and Iceland. It seems like.
Yeah, Iceland.
Yeah.
A little bit of North America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think gut reaction right away is like, oh my God, why are you changing it? Like it's been so awesome for the last couple of years. You know, we really get into it. So it's change always takes you by surprise. But I think the way that the qualification has, like, these sanctionals are pretty exciting and pretty cool to watch, pretty well run. So if that's going to be like a season leading up to the games every year, and now that they've got them all kind of labeled and set out, I think that's pretty cool. How the games itself actually plays out, I guess we'll have to wait and see, because it's a lot of athletes there over a certain amount of time.
That's the one weird part about it, is like having less athletes seemed to make it almost more interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's only 40. I think it was 40, right? Or 60?
So 40,
It was 40 before. So it's only 40, and you know they're the best.
Yeah.
So the tests are going to be the most exciting to watch.
Yes.
Whereas as soon as you go to 100, like running events, right? You can do way cooler stuff with 40 people than you can with 100.
For sure.
Just by virtue of space and time and equipment and everything.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if the games are going to be 2 weeks long. Like, we don't have a schedule at all yet. So in terms of, like, are they going to have a lead-up games to the games, or is there
that's
bracket style? Is it
Are they going to cut people after one workout day one on Monday, and then you came all the way from your country to, like, do one workout, and then
are you gone? You know, you show up Thursday, are you gone by Friday, and then you're down to 40 anyway?
And then the real game starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's still up to see there, but I think the community-wise, for what we saw here, what I saw anyways, was not necessarily the games change, it was the loss of the regionals.
Right.
A lot of, I'll call them bubble athletes that strived their games were making it to the regionals.
Right.
They lost their fire.
Right.
Right? Like, the Open was their, okay, game time, I want to make the regionals. That would be my thing, my glory to fame, making it to the regionals and saying that they made the regionals, right? Now that that's gone, like, you have the sanctionals, but I think the hit hard was to those athletes that were working their ass off just to make it to their personal games.
Yeah, I think that you got a lot of that right away. Well, why would I do the Open then? From those type of athletes. But I think a lot of that, it feels like a lot of them have come around now and are doing the sanctional qualifiers and are a little more excited with the way it's set up now, right?
That's cool. Were you guys around before the current? Yeah, you guys were around before the current games format, when they still had, when they had Canada regionals.
Yep.
Before you had, like,
Canada East and Canada West.
Yeah, but before that, when you had to go to.
So that was the first year
Calgary.
Yeah, we missed that Open. Well,
you came right after, because then it went Canada East, Canada West.
Yeah.
So it was interesting before. So before the way they used to do it, I just only was reminded of this because on my Facebook feed, like, we had a team and we had a couple individuals go out to Calgary for the Canadian. I think they were regionals at the time. It was all Canada regionals.
Sectionals? Were they called sectionals?
No, the sectionals here, and then you went to regionals.
Okay.
And then you went down.
Right.
So the sectionals worked like sanctionals.
Okay.
Whereas they picked a pillar in the community, you ran an event. There was one in Toronto, there was one out east in Fredericton, I think there was one out west, and then they all rolled up, and one in Calgary. They all rolled up to Calgary, where I think it was OPT at the time ran it. And Okotoks, I remember, because I've never been to Okotoks. I was there once. And then they went to the games. And it was interesting because I think something about that model was kind of cool on one level, because it's like, hey, you go to this thing, you qualify for the next level, and then you go, and a lot of people went at the time. But I think there was definitely something. The thing that's missing now is your interaction with HQ as a whole.
Yeah.
When regionals was close, you're like, oh, you feel more connected.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going to an NBA game versus just playing basketball in the backyard with your buddies.
Yeah.
They can be really good guys playing basketball, and they can be pro. But something about interacting with, like, going to regionals and, like, oh, like, there's a CrossFit logo. Oh, Castro's there. Like, oh, like, this is the thing. It's I saw the highlights on TV. It just makes it personable, and you feel like you're so connected.
For sure.
Whereas now it feels like you're a little more disconnected.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to come around now that we're later in the season for sanctionals.
Yep.
Right? And people are trying to qualify for sanctionals, and that's becoming their regionals, if you will, in terms of making it to their glory. whether they qualify or not. I guess it's depending on the sanctional itself. Because we were at the Rogue Invitational, and what was it? Women's spot. Corinne was right in the hunt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, it was sick to see an Ottawa girl.
Yeah.
She was in the hunt to get a ticket to the games.
That's amazing.
And it was between her and another one, and the other one got it. But it was actually amazing to see, first off. But two, was the fact that I think it was like the top 6 or top 8 were already qualifiers. So the math was like all secondary afterwards. It's like, oh shit, this is happening. Like, right. So it created a little bit more excitement to the actual event itself, as opposed to just
It means something.
Yeah.
As opposed to just a high five.
Yeah, pretty much.
What did you guys think of the event? I heard it was fantastic.
It was amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if all the sanctionals are like that, then they've got something good on their hands. Like it was wild.
Yeah, we compared to basically. I've never been to the games. I've seen it on TV, and I'm like, that's a sick event I want to be at.
Right.
With all the people and everything, the community, the just the fanfare, everything, the hype. But going to the Rogue Invitational was almost like we got all that, but more intimate. Like
Bit of a smaller scale.
Yeah,
than the
smaller
games,
scale. We were right next to the fence. We were able to high five some of the athletes. Like we were able to yell at Katrin. We were able. It was the athletes we got to meet was phenomenal. Whereas at the games, maybe not. I don't know. I've never been there.
Barely. I was once in LA, but never here.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you don't necessarily. I figured you don't necessarily see the athletes out because it's such a grand venue. Where here was like everything's there, everything's good to go. Like we saw a couple in the friggin' Rogue store. It was pretty sick. So
it was really well done. I mean, they ran a top-notch event there, right?
Just like everything they do.
Yeah, the legends and everything. Like it was just a really cool mix, really cool vibe. So we've gone and watched regionals a couple of years, but the vibe here was like much better.
Next level.
couldn't even compare.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, you'd think that what Glassman's done continually is like create something, kind of show you what's possible, and then like step back and let the best people run it.
Yeah.
Because I think even like he doesn't have a box anymore. He did. He started it, videotaped it. It was like, hey, run with this.
Yeah.
And it took off.
Yep.
And maybe that's the same thing with like regionals, and keeping the games is like, keeping their right to the, finding the fittest person on earth.
Yep.
But how people get there, I think, is
For sure.
maybe someone's going to do it better than they were doing it.
Yeah.
I think our gut reaction is like, no, we're protective of what we had, right?
Right.
Regionals, and then even them cutting their media and stuff like that. You're like, oh no, I love those guys. Like, don't take that away from me. But he's doing the same model that he has for affiliates. Just it's open. Do whatever you want, and creative, talented people are going to take charge and are going to create something better, right? So, and it's happening. You're seeing it with with different media streams forming their own little things. You're seeing it with the sanctionals. Like it is happening, and it's pretty cool. So I mean, his vision is kind of playing out. I'm sure the way he saw it happening, right?
Yeah. No, it's been really cool to see the evolution in just a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Give it a couple years, see what happens.
that's right. It can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's still a bit of muddy water this year, and it's still working out pretty
It's
cool.
still
right?
good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Any other topics you guys want to cover that's interesting? Anything that you think your members would be interested to know about? Or people that come to your comps?
Well, we have Oktoberfest September 14th this year.
Let's talk about that.
Little clue in there.
Yeah.
It's on the beach again. So registration starts next week. Next week?
Yeah,
The
14th, June 14th.
Are you guys capping it at 160 teams?
No, we'll take as many. Well, we're capping the actual divisions itself.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we play with the numbers in terms of division-wise. Like, if, for example, last year I think we had 52 female scaled teams.
Wow.
Right. So it was scaled female was nuts last year. So, but with that being so big, we sort of diminished some of the men's RX or men's according to demand, basically.
Yep.
So we're going to do the same thing this year. So register early. Make sure that you get in there because you might not get a chance. There's no set number for that.
And is it all like male, female?
Yep.
Or
Same sex.
So there's RX, scaled, masters, and then teens we run individually.
Cool.
It's just tough to get enough teens out to make it work, but they're individual and
It's been working thus far. So
Yeah.
That's very cool. Any sponsors or anything? Who are you guys working with for that event this year?
We've just started getting set up for this year, so we've had some
interest and some talks and whatnot, but nothing set in stone yet.
Nothing set yet. Yep. But we like in past years, we have a vendor village set up. We have people on site, and it's been, like I said, a pretty big hit. So hopefully people get signed up early. They don't want to miss out. Yeah.
Very cool. Any other events in the pipeline for next year? I mean, I know like I'm asking you to think past the next one. This is the one that's sitting on.
We are still thinking about Revolution.
Yeah.
We don't know what format it's going to be in, when it's going to be. We're still in talks about that in terms of how we're going to deliver that, if we're even going to deliver that.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've kind of, tossed around different ideas. Like with all these sanctionals having qualifiers, it feels like people are individually competing more often than they used to.
Yep.
And maybe the appetite for individual competitions isn't where it used to be.
Right.
Seems like when you do a pair or a trio or even four, you seem to drum up a little more interest. So we're just kind of tossing around what's the right number, right? We already do pairs with Wadtoberfest. Do we go with a different number for Revolution? Do we keep it individual? What's going to get you the best kind of turnout, best bang
And
for
the
your
best
buck?
experience for the
athlete,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah.
No, I could see that. We've noticed the same thing as well. Individual comps are going smaller, and I think that's because I think having a team, whether it's 2, 3, 4, it makes it fun again.
Yep.
Individual, I think people that really like competing put a lot of pressure on themselves.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, well, do I want to go through this pressure for fun? Like, no, I want to maybe qualify for something, as opposed to, hey, it's just a great weekend with some friends.
Yeah.
Maybe set a PR, see what happens, hang out with the community and that kind of
If
thing.
you have a buddy talking into it, hey, let's go do it for fun together.
Yeah.
It's different, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's how Oktoberfest, a lot of our members join up. They're like, hey, what are you doing that weekend?
Yeah.
You feel like doing it? Because I do. And they jump on board, right?
Yeah.
So, it's fun that way. So we're still in talks with Revolution. So
Cool. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you got to switch things up, right? Just like HQ.
And then the time of year too. Like obviously, there's going to be no open in February this year. So obviously, when you can hold a comp opens up and you move things around now, right? We were trying to plan around the open before, and now
it opens that up,
maybe
for sure.
Got a lot more time.
Yeah.
Do you guys notice like Oktoberfest being your biggest comp? I take it.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard time finding volunteers for it because everyone likes it so much they want to participate?
Yeah, I mean it's always tough. We've lucked out that we've kind of gotten just
base
past
amount.
the bare minimum, But it's a lot to asking people to give up a whole day on a weekend. Everyone's got busy schedules, but we've been really lucky. We have great members, and then even people in the community, like from other boxes that just want to come out and experience the day, but don't necessarily want to compete. We get a good amount from there too. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, but it's definitely it's a tough ask though, right?
The better the event, right? The more people want to be in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's a double-edged sword again.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the
and you
thing.
can't begrudge that to people, right? Oh, you're competing this year? We could really use you judging, but good luck.
Yeah, and you're like, I want to compete in this too. But you gotta be on this side.
Yeah.
What's the CrossFit community like here in Ottawa? Or do people do the boxes talk a lot? Or is it really kind of isolated?
There's select boxes that talk to each other for sure. I'd say there's probably a few different variations of communities in the area.
Yeah.
We're more geared towards families. Same with Paul Trombe's gym and Reza and Pete. And at NCR, they run a similar type of community that we do. They're very successful with it. They also have a competitive side to it. They were able to mix and match both of them, which worked out well for them. It's awesome. And then we have some boxes that strictly focus on competing. Up until this year, it was strictly, we don't care about anything, we just want to make it somewhere type of thing. There's a couple like that in town. And teach their own, right? They're very successful as well. They get all the athletes that necessarily won't come here.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of the model, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do what you want.
Yeah, you can mold it to whatever you want it to be, right? And I'm sure it's the same where you are, right? There's a wide variety of...
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
So, but from what we see here, we like the community we have, and the gyms that we tend to get along with are in similar communities type of thing. So,
Yeah, or have a similar vision for their community,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think it always kind of just organically develops, right? Like-minded people attract like-minded people, and then it just, you can say this is the community I want to have, but I think it just kind of creates itself and happens.
Yeah, the things that you allow and the things that you encourage, even almost subconsciously, through your programming, through your events, through all that stuff, that's what thrives.
Yep.
Stuff that you kind of neglect, and I think that's a good thing for a lot of owners to kind of keep in mind. Is if your community isn't exactly what you want it, in some ways it's your responsibility to get it to where you want it to be.
Exactly.
It's because of how you're acting and not acting that it is what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It all boils down to character. How you conduct yourself is how you're gonna, the type of members you're going to get.
Yep. Yeah.
Type of thing.
Cool.
We have a great. I mean, everyone says our community is the best, or this is whatever.
We're not biased at all.
But we have a great community.
No, we have an amazing community.
Everyone's tight. Everyone's friends. I mean, we've had friendships formed, relationships formed, marriages formed here. It's a cool, a real cool vibe for sure.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I think that's the power of this stuff. Is I feel like there's not a lot of places in the world these days that you can get community, especially. I mean, people going more online.
Yeah.
Right. You're working with people, your coworkers, you're cordial with, but they're not necessarily your friends. They're not like-minded.
Nope.
You get to a place where people are like, hey, I'm willing to push hard for fitness. I'm willing hard to, kind of take charge of my life and be in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And then you find a community full of people who are just like you, and you're like, oh, wow, this is okay.
Yeah.
This works.
Yeah,
And
it's funny.
it's a face-to-face community too.
Right.
It's not a social texting community or whatever it may, like Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like legit, hard-pressed, face-to-face, let's have friendship grow type of thing.
But so, like, where else do adults go to make friends, right? It doesn't, like, it just doesn't happen in life. Like, just, oh, you want to be friends? Like, it just organically develops, and all of a sudden you're hanging out after the gym, and it's cool to see it develop, right?
Yeah. I think it's, you guys ever see that, what the fuck gym talk guy?
Yeah.
Where he's talking about, like, you can't sell your community. I'm like, I totally agree with, like, you can't sell it, but once it's there, it's what keeps people.
Yeah.
You know, because exactly your point. Everyone's like, oh, my community's the best. I'm like, but if it is, people will stay. That's how you know it's really good.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff about the gym, of course.
And you don't need to yell it from the mountaintops, right? You can come in and feel it right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. This was
cool.
awesome.
Oktoberfest, September
14th.
Yep. Awesome. One day on the beach.
One day on the beach.
Sounds amazing.
Probably won't be any paddleboarding this year though.
Yeah.
There was paddleboarding last year?
Last year
That was a surprise?
Yeah.
Did both people have to be on the paddleboard?
No,
Or
one at a
goes
time.
out?
One at a time. That would have been a great idea
that's
though. I
good,
didn't even think about
Write
that.
that down. Just make sure you shout me out when you just
I will for sure, yeah.
You know who to get mad at, Alex. Awesome. Guys, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.